All right, so today we're going to talk about fire safety in your home. You know, fire has always fascinated mankind from ever it started. Whether you believe that, fire was stolen from the gods by Prometheus and gave it to us, you can find information on GreekMythology.com, or it's been traced back as over 1,000,000 years ago. Katie Wong wrote an article for Scientific America magazine where she referenced that fire is as old as 1.5 million years old. So fire safety at home is very important to everybody because more than 2,500 people die per year and more than 12,600 people are injured, according to Department of Homeland Security's website each year. And fire safety is very important to me. For the past 15 years, I've been with Murray County Fire Department. I'm division chief there. And fire safety is something that really, a lot of it could be prevented. A lot of injuries, accidents, even deaths, with some little fire knowledge. So today what I'm going to talk about is some basic fire tip safety stuff for your home, how to make your family more prepared, and put it in actual use and repair. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and jump right into fire safety. And we're going to talk about 4 major categories: electrical fires, heater fires, smoking-related fires, and cooking fires. Most people automatically assume electrical fires is the most common cause of fires. It's actually not. But electrical is probably where we can do the most preventive work we can think of. So one thing I want to talk about with electrical fires is just some simple, basic knowledge stuff that you can use around the house. For extension cords, for example. Extension cords are designed for temporary use only. A lot of people will run extension cords across their whole length of their house and leave it that way. That's not its intended use. They'll run extension cords underneath rugs, behind bookshelves, and they'll leave them there. It's not designed for long-term use. Another thing they'll do as far as like light bulbs. Bulbs have a wattage limit on them, so most lamps will say don't go over 40 watts, don't go over 60 watts. A lot of people put a 100-watt bulb in a 30-watt container. That's one way to start a fire. They'll put objects over light shades, maybe they'll put a blanket over for a color effect. Easy way to start a fire that way. Electrical heaters. A good rule of thumb, and this information, NFPA is a great resource for information. I'll reference several of their pamphlets throughout here. But for the electrical heater, it recommends a 3-foot zone. And that's a 3-foot zone of anything near a heater that reduces the chance of it starting a fire. So that's one way to do keep electrical fires from happening. Since we talk about heaters, we'll go ahead and transition into heaters. So heaters is really another big cause of fires. We have space heaters, electrical heaters, we have gas heaters, we have all kinds of that stuff. So once again, as long as we maintain that 3-foot region from where we have space heaters, electrical heaters, we want to keep 3 feet clearance around it to keep things from catching on fire. Another thing with the heaters that some people do, and unfortunately I've seen it myself, is that ovens. A lot of people open their ovens to heat their house. That's not its intended purpose. The gas, all that stuff will go through your house and it can cause, carbon monoxide, can start fires. Just in reference that way. For heating fires, also chimney fires. A lot of people don't get their chimneys serviced and cleaned properly. All that carbon buildup and soot builds up and down the chimney, and that needs to be cleaned professionally every year before you start to use it. Not to mention that there's animals and stuff in there. The first time you go to start a fire, unfortunately, maybe birds are a nest in there, and you want to make sure that they're not in there so you don't kill any necessary creatures and stuff. But with heating, we get heating sources of like lighters, so we'll transition to smoking. Smoking fires. #1 cause of fatalities with house-related fires and injuries is from smoking. So like I said, it's #1 cause of death that's reported through the U.S. Fire Administration as well as the Homeland Security websites. So, and another cause of, believe it or not, for smoking-related fires is oxygen sources. A lot of people who take oxygen through the nose will still smoke cigarettes on a regular basis. This causes fires. A lot of people will start to smoke as they go to sleep, and they don't make sure that they put the cigarette completely out. Whether it's a cigar, cigarette, whatever they're smoking, they don't put it out. Catches on mattresses. One of the worst fires we ever had here in the city of Nashville is an NAC Columbia nursing home fire. It was started by a person smoking a cigarette, fell and hit on his mattress. Fires. It's actually the most cause of death in a nursing home fire in the history. We own it here. So just put it out, put them out. Make sure, another good tip that they had in one of the NFPA manuals was if you have a coffee can, put some sand in it, put something in the ashtray to help make sure that it smothers out the fire and everything. And finally, we'll talk about cooking fires. The reason I say cooking fires for last was it's the #1 source of home fires. And really that stuff just breaks down into, we have electricity, we have water, we have gas, we have all that stuff we're mixing together, and it's never a good combination. A lot of people cook food, they'll go and leave it unattended. Probably the best resource I found is American Red Cross on the west side has great 10 steps of what to look at not to cause cooking fire. And they talk about never leave your food unattended, check it regularly, use a timer. You know, don't overcook things. A lot of times you'll burn up the bottom of pans and stuff. Pot holders, ovens, mitts. We use them all the time. Probably most people store them near their stove, somewhere close to it. If that's too close to a heated source, there's your fire right there. And of course, if you have smoke detectors in your home, put one kind of near your kitchen. I know it's troublesome if you burn something or they're going to go off, but they go off, that lets you know they're working. And with smoke detectors, we're going to talk about getting our homes ready, because how prepared is your family and how often do you react to it? If your smoke detector goes off at your house, do you go, man, my smoke detector's going off, I need to change the batteries? Well, that's what most people's reaction to it, just like a fire alarm activation. If you're at school or somewhere in a movie theater, fire alarm goes off, you're like, oh, I don't see no fire, panic. But it's all how you practice and be prepared. Because even professional firefighters, when they go through their training, one of the manuals we reference most is the 4th edition. And it even teaches us that if the civilians properly train and practice at it, their chances of survival during fire greatly increase. Cleveland Magazine in June 2007 put out a tip about how to prepare your family, and they went through these 5 steps: prevention, preparedness, planning, practice, and place. The prevention was just talk about the family, what they do to prevent it, everything we've talked about with the cooking fires, electrical fires, heater fires. Preparedness, children and adults need prepared. If there's smoke in the house and you get in bed and the smoke alarm goes off, first thing you do to practice is get on the floor. Most people sit straight up. Well, the gases and toxins, you inhale that, it's not good for you. Practice, get on the floor, crawling out, all that stuff. Planning your escape route. If you normally go through your front door and there's smoke there, you need to know to go through your back door. And the final thing for the place, everyone in your family should know what place to go to. Have a spot. Even let your neighbor know. That way, if there's a fire and there's 4 of you there, they'll be like, oh, where's Susie? Well, Susie knows to go to the spot. Susie must be inside when you tell the fire department. So it's very good to go through all those steps. So we kind of talked about the basic causes of fire, some little fire prevention tips to hopefully prevent those in the future. We talked about making your family prepared. Practice, planning, preparedness, your place, prevention. With all those steps pointed together, hopefully you can take those back home with you, make your family more prepared for fire. Thank you for listening, and hopefully you can go back and practice some of the stuff that we've talked about.